I think moving slightly away from there, I just wanted to understand what your view is on uh, an institutional mediation. So mediation through an institution, a recognized institution such as the CMC, versus ad hoc mediation where people or parties are keen to appoint someone who they may, both of them may know or have some common relationship with, and attempt to do an ad hoc mediation through that individual. Is there a difference in your view, and do you know which has worked better? Do you have any experiences of that sort?
Yeah, that's that's my favorite question to answer. Yeah, and the difference between yeah, let me stick to the word difference. Difference between uh, private mediation or private arbitration on one end, and institutional mediation or institutional arbitration on the other, does not start and end with today's context of virtual mediation and social distancing and video conferencing, etc., etc. That's only a small part of it. I guess, and there could be a few private mediators who would be able to offer equally good infrastructure and facilities. To really be able to explain the way I look at the differences between private and institution in this context, I will have to take the example of arbitration and explain this because of the simple fact that we in our country have a couple of decades of experience in arbitration, and we can relate to what has happened there in our country. And we can then, take a few examples from there and see where it went wrong, where it went right between institutional and private arbitration, and extrapolate that into the space of mediation and see what could go wrong. So to come back to, the comparison between private and institutional in the arbitration fold, we know that we have had a very long and arduous processes of arbitration. We know that there have been popular arbitrators who have been overloaded and their dates are not available for next hearing going into 6 months. And we know that the such private arbitrations did not follow any strict timelines for resolution and timelines for submission of rejoinders and documentation, etc., etc. So, given all that, the arbitration as a process has not really covered itself in glory in India.
Right.
But as you look at Europe and the developed world, where there are big brands that have developed around arbitration, which are all institutional, and the reason they have come up so well, reason people have started trusting them well all across the world, is because they believe in setting ground rules. They believe in very strong processes. They believe in things like limiting the number of cases that an arbitrator can handle, even if he is a very popular one. They believe in sticking to timelines and deliveries, and they also believe in a transparent kind of cost structure, fee structure. So, with all those differences, we now can safely say, why, or safely put our finger on why in India arbitration, there are certain regulatory loopholes and all that which have somehow been plugged to a limited extent. But the real reason, the root causes of why in India arbitration did not pick up is because we did not develop those processes, those rules, that kind of transparency, etc., in India around arbitration. Right. Now, coming back to mediation, and this I said, I warned you, it will take a little time. Coming back to mediation, we don't want, we as an institute, we as a stakeholder in the country's business, we represent certain entities of business and commerce in India. We are one of the oldest chambers. We are a stakeholder, and we believe we have a role to play to ensure that a similar thing, similar fate doesn't befall mediation. And it is to that extent that we have taken it up as a mission to set up this CMC, the Center for Mediation and Conciliation. And we, again, just to repeat what we said in the context of arbitration, I will repeat again in the context of mediation now, that we and institutes and platforms like ours not just offer electronic virtual mediation possibilities, which is very contemporary, of course, but to start with, and more fundamentally, we offer a set of very well laid out rules which have been well researched and adopted, a very strong oversight of our process and our quality and our customer feedback by a steering committee, which is quite well known and highly placed members. We also have a very transparent fee structure, which we are ready to send to anyone at the drop of a hat, because that nothing is hidden in that fee structure, and it is very competitive even if you compare with arbitration. And the biggest part of nebulousness in a fee structure in arbitration or even in private mediation could be around the fact that these fee structures are devised around number of sittings, number of hearings. In our case, there is more transparency because we don't charge our fees based on number of sittings, number of hearings, but based on the value of the dispute, and that's it, irrespective of the number of meetings. And that affords much more transparency. And bodies like ours also offer a perception, at least, if not in truth, of neutrality to the disputants. And when it comes to a chamber like ours, which has been very strong on ethics and age-old traditions of moral values, etc., that sense of neutrality, that benefit of neutrality will be stronger for the disputants, I believe. And the last point why I think that the disputants should make a beeline for institutes for mediation and not private mediation is because here they get a menu card of mediators. And that may sound like a little lighter way to look at a list of mediators, but it is hard hitting in the sense that it is only in such institutions that you get access to a list of mediators who are not just lawyers, but they come from different backgrounds with different domain expertise, different kind of in-depth experiences in dealing with contractual matters in different sectors of the industry. And therefore, you are, unlike in private mediation where you get limited to one mediator per se, here jointly together with the institute, the disputants have the option of going through the various possibilities of who could be the right mediator, and where of course the institute can help. But I think this is an advantage of institutional mediation or institutional arbitration for that matter, going back again to arbitration. We'll go back and forth. This is the advantage which is most often overlooked, that in case of an institutional mediation center, we get the choice of mediators and we can pick the right mediator for our kind of dispute, and we don't start on the wrong foot, but we start with the right foot. And because of these gamut of reasons that we see today, that institutions like JAMS in USA or institutions like CEDR in UK and many more have made such a big name. They have become so popular because of the fact that with all these reasons or the differentiators that they offer, they are able to resolve disputes with much higher success rate. At the end of the day, that's the only thing that counts.
That's right.
Thanks for listening to me with patience.
No, not at all. I think this is very informative.